Peacemaker Season 2 just came out, and they did two things. One, they confirmed that there's 100 Earths, at least, in the DCU. And two, they confirmed that Guy Gardner has a puking fetish. This is your spoiler warning. You've been warned. Let's recap Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 1. It starts out with them recapping what happened previously in the DCU. Instead of Adebayo talking to her mother about the Justice League, it's the Justice Gang. And instead of the Justice League showing up, it's the Justice Gang. After the recap, we are met with Chris. Chris wakes up and he takes Eagly out in the Quantum Unfolding Chamber, aka the QUC, because he's too lazy to take him outside. He says, fly to your business. It's too cold outside, okay? And he kind of loses Eagly, okay? So now he's walking around the QUC trying to find him, and lo and behold, he sees Peacemaker helmets. But they're not his. But they're there. But they're not his. But they're there. Huh? He sees a door. He puts in his code. The door opens. He goes through the door, sees the trio, him, his father, and Kevin, but we don't technically know that yet. His dad comes into picture and goes, you sleepwalking again, buddy? Peacemaker looks at him all crazy and then runs the opposite direction. Boom. 6 months later. Peacemaker walks out of his house in uniform to meet with Adebayo for his interview for the Justice Gang. Newsflash, it doesn't go terribly. They arrive there and we actually get a cameo of White Rabbit. Yeah, it was pretty sweet. Peacemaker walks in there and he does his little interview, and the entire time, whenever they think they're muting the mic, they actually aren't muting the mic. So he kind of just hears their entire conversation every time they think they're muting. And they're just dogging on him. By the end, he's like, yo, am I supposed to hear you? And they're just like, oh shit. He goes out of there all angry and shit, yada yada. We flash to a doctor saying you got toxic masculinity. Yeah, newsflash, it's about Harcourt. But she gets rejected by this agency. I'm actually not sure which agency this is, but this was basically just an agency that she was trying to get hired at. But as you know, she's kind of on the blacklist because of Amanda Waller, and so is Adebayo. Everybody's kind of in a rough place right now. She got rejected from the NSA, the CIA, the FBI, the DIA, and the DHS. Whoops. So yeah, that's a lot of letters, guys. But anyway, she gets back to her car and she just beats the ever-living shit out of her dashboard. She goes home, and waiting for her at the house is Peacemaker. They chit-chat with each other about each other's interviews. They're both like, oh, I'm sorry, your interview didn't go well. Mine didn't either. Oh, I'm sorry, yours didn't go well. Mine didn't either. Then Peacemaker brings up the fact that they hooked up on a boat, on a party boat, and Harcourt is just like, nah, that ain't happen, Swin. And he's like, oh. And she's like, yeah, like nah, bro, like, fuck off. You know, and then they just start arguing. And then Peacemaker's he was like, yeah, I'm just here to see how your interview was. So I'm just going to see my way out the door. I'm going to see my way out the door, y'all. Peace out. And then Harcourt's like, yeah, fuck off. Yeah, get out of here. Harcourt decides to go to a bar and purposely piss off a guy so that she can get into a fight. And then she ultimately gets jumped and kicked out. Peacemaker goes to his rainy day white bag. You can assume what that is. And his bong, and has a fun time with a lot of naked men and women in his house. But he's not naked. He's just there, sad. And he goes to the Quantum Unfolding Chamber, the QUC. He goes to the other universe, to the other door, walks through. He goes outside, and he sees a truck coming. He's a little intimidated, but the person who comes out of the truck is Keith, his brother, his dead brother. And then, like, straight out of a horror movie, his dad just pops up behind him in the doorframe. He's like, hey, guys, the three amigos back together. Let's go drink. It's an occasion. But I thought you were in Bloodhaven. No? Okay. Augie goes over a story about how when Chris was a kid, he came home to seeing Chris being chased around by 30 imps. Now, he said these imps were from the Munchkin dimension, 8 doors down. How much do you know about the Quantum Unfolding Chamber, Augie and Keith? Have y'all explored it? Or did y'all just stop 8 doors down? Or do you only know about the Munchkin dimension on there? You know, funny enough, there is no actual Munchkin dimension or universe in the DC, like, comics-wise. But there is a Munchkin card game. And it is just kind of funny because that is a game that does have, like, knee-high characters that also happens to have a Batman edition. Just thought that was pretty cool that y'all should know. But it's like, I know for a fact that they at least had to do something with that because Keith then says, how many interdimensional imps do you have to fight before you remember the name? But anyways, moving on, Augie goes to bed. He's sleepy. He says, I love you, buddy. And then Peacemaker's just like... And Keith is like, yo, you still talking to that ex? I know she's with that jarhead, but, you know, later on in Peacemaker's room, he sees a picture of them too. So, yeah, it's Harcourt that he's referring to. And I think jarhead is probably Rick Flag Jr., if I had to guess. But anyways, Keith goes to bed. He explores his room. And then about 10 seconds into that, Peacemaker has a Desert Eagle to his head. But not Peacemaker. Peacemaker. Yeah. So Peacemaker runs. Alternate Peacemaker follows him. He gets to the QUC door, and alternate Peacemaker activates magic stars, which are pretty much just 2 ninja stars that detach from his helmet that track and dig into Peacemaker's back. It's pretty nasty, but he manages to open QUC door and run through. He's just trying to find his door, and he low-key gets his ass beat by his alternate self, and he's just getting pounded and pounded and pounded until he touches the button on alternate Peacemaker's chest, or just his chest piece, that activates the jetpack, and he jetpacks up to this thing right here, to this spike, to this stalactite, and he's dead. Kills him. And low-key, that death was super funny. Like, that way just... Oh, yeah, and in the documentary at the end, James Gunn confirmed that there's 99 other doors with this. I'm going to wait until at least next episode until I start to try to form a theory. But that is where the episode ends, with Peacemaker over his dead doppelganger's body. Now, clearly I was right in this video. In that video, I theorized that the trailer was misleading us, in a sense that it showed us Peacemaker, the alternate Peacemaker. But I theorized that it would be our Peacemaker in that outfit. Now, it's obvious in hindsight, but I was right. So I wonder what else from that is going to be right. I wonder what dimension, actually, this image is from. I don't know. But I see the theory's formulating in the membrane, but... y'all comment y'all theories, comment what y'all think about the episode, comment anything y'all are excited to see, comment anything that y'all want to see, and as always, make sure y'all like and follow for more.